And welcome to the Friday Focus, where we look back over the Staggs Bar Monarchs. Fantastic win over the Ipswich Witches on Friday evening. The Staggs Bar Monarchs ran out. It was 51-39. Winners a 12-point victory in the end there, Graham. But until Heat 8, the Witches were pushing us. We only had a slender lead, but that 5-1 in Heat 8, that really turned the tide.
That was a big result for us there. You mentioned that, right? Witches undermanned, obviously coming with rider replacement for Cameron Heaps, David Wallinger, a late replacement for Daniel Hume, but they stuck to the task well. They kept us close, and if the Monarchs had made any slip-ups at any point, the Witches would have been right there to take advantage. As it was, we reserved our one slight error for Erik in the last race, only cost us a couple of points when the match was won. So a good end to a good week. 7 points on the board between last night and tonight. Back up that table. None of this bottom of the table nonsense on the social media. Of course.
A lot of people had written Ipswich off before they even came tonight. I mean, I think it was three guests, and rider replacement. But sometimes they kind of teams come in with nothing to lose attitude. They can be dangerous.
Yeah, 100%. Not to mention the fact that two of those guests are Richie Worrall and Matty Weathers, who, with no offence to Jonas Jepsen, who's never ridden here, I'm willing to bet Matty's paid 10 would have been more than he would have scored. And we all know that Richie is as good as anyone here. And Danny is good here, but he probably wouldn't rate it in his top 3 or 4 tracks. So, yeah, you never know what you're going to get at a guest. Are they going to take it as a night? We'll go there, we'll ride solidly. Wherever we end up, we'll get a wee bit extra pocket money. Or, as you say, are they going to come here? The stress is off tonight, I can go out and enjoy it, and that pushes them on. As it was, I'd say Matty was very good. Richie was probably a lot under par, but maybe understandable after the week he's had. But I think a lot of that was down to the Monarchs. I mean, we've talked about the Witches, but I don't think you can take anything away. Obviously, Victor rode well. Joel's been a revelation this week. Erik and Ricky both unbeaten going into the last race. Mark back to somewhat like his best with 7 points, and Josh and Max trying their damnedest. It was a good team performance by the Monarchs tonight.
Yep. Just to keep it on the Witches slightly, Rory Sline out there at number 1 is probably a kind of below par performance for him around here. 7 from 5. He would have expected more, especially being the captain and one of the Ipswich regulars.
Yeah, I was a wee bit surprised by Rory tonight. I don't know if the track didn't suit him or what. I never had a chance to speak to him after, but you expect minimum double figures. You know, you pretty much put 10 in your programme as a minimum when Rory comes up. Don't fish on 7, very unusual last in Heat 1, and then picked up as the night went on, but you were never really that concerned by Rory tonight. And even the one race that he did make the jump on Erik, with a fantastic pass, just sort of blitzed him.
Yep. Again, just to stay on the Witches, Richie Worrall, he's normally one of the kind of riders with fear coming here. He goes extremely well around the Armadale circuit, but it just wasn't his night tonight. I think he scored paid 5. That is well under what he would have expected from himself tonight.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we'll hear from Rich in a little bit. I spoke to him separately to that. I can't remember if he said in our interview or the one I got with him that it was a new clutch he had in tonight, and it's going back, were his exact words. He said it just wasn't biting the way he wanted it to. Obviously he gets emptied in Heat 13. I don't think he was particularly pleased with that. Just one of those nights for Richie, and again, you know, probably on the back of the week he's had, he'd be happy just to get this meeting out of the way, get the points he got, nothing lost, nothing gained from his point of view, and move on with the rest of his season.
Yep, exactly, get back on track, and we can hear from Richie now. Richie, always difficult to come into a side as a guest, especially at this point in the season, but it was a tough evening for the Witches.
Yeah, it was, and I think it shows, you know, when you're in a team that's struggling, you then everything becomes a struggle for yourself, which it did for me tonight. It was a weird one. Normally go well around here. They had a few seconds, then obviously that last in 13, but it did now with the first run of it. I think Slaney, you know, missed it. I don't know what he was doing, to be honest, but he ended up sticking me and Erik in the fence for no reason whatsoever. And coming back out in the rerun, then it's never good after that, you know, to then try and make a start again off 3, which I think is a big ask in that later on in the meeting. And I thought I'd done all the hard work of getting off it. We was on it was potential 5-1 for me and Rory, and then he just goes and forgets to turn, which is a bit amateurish of a guy of his standard. Yeah, so I was well annoyed about that. I don't even know what the score was, but I know you guys won pretty comfortably, so well done.
How is it when a rider goes to the tape, say for that rerun, is your mind on all different places? Are you fully concentrated on you try to just make a start?
Well, I was a little bit I was for the first one of that heat 13 there. I searched all over that gate 3 for a good bit, a good bit of traction, a nice bit of dirt, and I managed to just sneak in between 2 ruts where somebody had been. I managed to just sneak in, and that was kind of like the only place that I could find on the whole gate that I was happy with going from. That I thought, right, yeah, this is going to be all right. So in the back of my mind, I knew that there was nowhere else for me to go, so I'm going to have to try and figure something else out when I get there. All the chains are tight because they're covered in crap from going on the fence. I wasn't sure if the bike was bent or not. We didn't seem to have much time. So what was on my mind then was, I hope Rory remembers to turn this time, and am I going to make this work? Yep. So it was a tough one, that. Yeah.
Well, without getting into too much detail about what's happened this week, was this a good opportunity for yourself to kind of put your name back out there again to championship clubs?
Not really, no, because the phones have not stopped ringing, to be honest. Yes. And I've done a deal with the club now, so I'm not sure when that'll be getting released, but hopefully soon. So I'm sorted there now. I'm not worried about that, and I am happy about it. With Glasgow, just speedway, that I think, and Lewis getting hurt. He had to go down a different route. Sadly, it was me, but I think it's probably for the better anyway, and everything seems to happen for a reason, and hopefully I'll be happier in the outcome.
Well, good luck with your next club, wherever you end up, Richie.
Yep, cheers.
So now we've focused on the away side, so to speak, in the early part of the show. We'll turn our attention to the Monarchs. As you say, it was a good, solid performance by them. We mentioned at the top of the show, Heat 8 was really the heat that changed the kind of course of the meeting. But Victor in there at number 2, he scored solidly. But Joe Anderson at reserve again, he scored very well. It looks a very determined rider at the minute.
It's a different rider to what we've seen at the start of the season, isn't it? Determined's the exact word. If I had one criticism of Joe at the start of the season, it was that maybe a lack of bite in the first and second bend was costing him. There's definitely no lack of bite now, and some really intelligent riding. There was races where the guy behind him looked quicker, but Joe just stuck to the right line. He kind of had a wee look, see where he was if he needed to move out. I think there was one race with Cavati where Cavati was on his tail, and he's going to stick to the outside, so he moved out a little bit. There was another race where I think it was Matty that was on his tail. Matty's probably going to stick to the inside. He kept it tight. He was watching where the opposition were and riding really well. And I think was it a paid double figure score, 8 and 2 from 5 rides. That's that powerhouse reserve that the way the team was built, we've needed all year. Josh had a good spell at reserve. Obviously, it didn't work out for Matt. Coty's had a spell. Max is down there finding his feet again. But was it paid 12 last night at Redcar? Paid 10 again tonight. If you're getting paid double figures at a reserve, you're not going to lose many meetings with the top end we've got as well.
Of course. Before we speak about the top 2, Graham, it was a disappointing night for Max Rummel on the back of his performance here last week in the Caledonian Riders Championship. He probably thought that was going to kick him on slightly, but he had a tough evening, although to his credit, he did ride very, very hard. He looked as though he had the pace. I think it was Matty Weathers he passed, but unfortunately he had to surrender the position to someone who's got a million laps around here, really. Really, now this is now not now or never, but now's the time to kick on.
We do need it to kick on. After the last couple of weeks, he's been better. I think tonight's one of those nights that you're. I don't mean this as a dig ten on, but your guys that look at it on the internet, or your guys that just see the score on the Speedway Star or whatever, won't actually realise the kind of night Max had. He came out in Heat 2, he gated well, he backed up Joe well. His next race, I think, was the one where he had that to and fro with Matty, and again, it was just that little bit of experience. I mean, it was a fantastic move on the 3rd and 4th bend to look like he was going to go wide, cut back, make a long straight, get under Matty. Then he just couldn't hold it in down here, and Matty knew exactly what to do, put it back on that inside line. And then what would have been his 3rd ride, he gets done on the 2 minutes, and his easiest ride of the night, because you've got Wallinger in that race, with no offence to David Wallinger, but Max would have beaten him, let's be honest. He misses that on 2 minutes with a bike error issue that seems to carry on into his last one, when it wasn't far away, but it was a tougher race at that point. So paid 3, probably less than he deserves, but these paid 3s need to become paid 4s, paid 5s, paid 6s.
Again, to look at our top 2 there, they had a fantastic night. Ricky was unbeaten up until Heat 15, as was Erik. But Ricky sadly missed out in Heat 15, where Erik missed out in points for perhaps trying a bit too hard.
Definitely. Erik was right on, was it Rory's tail? No, it was Nico Cavati's tail, sorry. He was right on Nico's tail.
It was worth admission money alone.
Oh, fantastic. All the way. By the last lap, he probably was never going to catch him. You don't tell Erik that. He went for a move, big sweep round outside, overcooked it, locked up, and lost it and dropped to the back. No damage done, so the meeting was won and Erik stayed on. For Ricky, it was weird. I don't know if it's just the way he rides this place. He never looks the fastest rider on the night, and then at the end of the night you've got, oh, he scored 13-14. Heat 15, he got stuck on gate 1, which was a bit of a graveyard tonight. I think there was only one winner from gate 1 all night, and that was Erik. Couldn't quite make the jump, and once you give a guy like Cavati the way he was going tonight a start, then you're going to struggle to catch him, particularly, and I think he just sort of tucked in quite well behind Erik. He knew Erik was the one that was making the charge.
Of course, we'll speak about the top two, of course, with the pairs next week, and of course the build up to Cardiff continues through this week as well. But what we're going to do now is we're going to catch up with Erik. We spoke to him after the meeting, and then we can see his phenomenal Heat 11 pass on Rory Schlein in this week's Heat of the Week.
So Erik, a good win to cap off a good week.
Yeah, good win. Won yesterday, gave us a good confidence boost. Everyone was keen to ride today. We didn't have a meeting for 2 weeks, and yeah, track was good. I was a bit afraid because of the weather, but it came out really good and got a win. That's all we wanted.
And it was a tight match, obviously, although it was a 12-point victory in the end. Ipswich never got us pulled away, so the boys must have known any mistakes, and it could have been tricky at the end.
Yeah, it was quite close, and you could feel there was a bit of tension because they kept the distance, and we didn't pull away too much. But yeah, they got a couple good guys, Rory and Richie were really good, and Cavati. Yeah. So they gave us a hard challenge, and yeah, it was a close match, I think interesting.
And for your own point of view, a tremendous ride to pass Rory in Heat 11, I think it was. You must have enjoyed that.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. Was a good battle with him. Messed up Heat 15 a little bit. Wasn't second, and when I'm behind someone, I'm just obsessed with winning. And if I see someone in front of me, I'm just gonna try everything. And last corner, I went in flat out and overcooked it a little bit, and nearly came off. And yeah, it sucked.
A few people been writing the Monarchs off. Happy to say we're bottom of the league. Obviously, 7 points in 2 nights. Bush is back up, and this team's still looking at the playoffs as a realistic sort of goal.
Of course, it's a standard of the club to be at least in the playoffs. The club wants us to win. We can feel that we want to win, and of course, that's our goal. We want to get into the playoffs.
And obviously, next week a break here, but you'll be at Somerset for the pairs. You looking forward to that?
Yeah, of course. It's the first time I ride the pairs, so really keen for that. With Ricky, it's going to be good. Somerset is also a track I really enjoy, so yeah, I'm looking forward.
And is it a quiet time for yourself after that, or do you have many meetings on the continent in the next couple of weeks?
July, the rest of July is pretty quiet, but then in August it gets a bit busier again. Sweden, I had 2 weeks off now, and yeah, it was quite quiet the last 2 weeks, or the whole July. So after this month, it's going to get busier with Sweden and Poland.
Well, thanks very much again for joining us. Well done again tonight, Erik.
So we've now had a 2-minute exclusion for Max Rummel, which means Joel Anderson takes the ride. That rather reduces the Monarchs' options later on, and Rory Schlein's coming up, probably to pass Erik Riss, which he has. So that reduces the Monarchs' options in Heat 14, which is a bit of a problem heat. Meanwhile, Erik Riss is giving it a go, and he's closing right up on Rory Schlein, just pulling out of that one, but having another dabble at a cutback, and this could be sensational from Riss. It is, but Schlein comes back, but it's Riss. Magnificent ride by Erik Riss. One of the top visitors. Will he hang on though? Yes, he has. What a glorious effort by Erik Riss. That was absolutely brilliant. And it really does make a difference to this match. Monarchs lead by 12 now. And that was some ride by the captain.
Phenomenal action there. It was despite the kind of comfortable looking score, there was some really good racing tonight. Heat 1 was another cracker as well. There was a lot of passing.
Yeah, I mean, right from, as you say, right from the start, Heat 1, a fantastic race. Ricky Wells gates last, is in first coming out of the first lap. Matty repasses him, Ricky gets him going into the last lap. Heat 11 that we show there, and obviously I've not actually seen the tape yet, but I don't think it will show just how fast Erik was going there. I mean, that was determined. He was cutting back, he made a long straight off it, and Rory wasn't far away from getting him back on the line. A couple of other races, Josh, tough night for Josh, but battled well. You know, he got round Connor Mountain a couple of times to take second when the Witches were on 5-1s. So yeah, some really good racing, and probably, obviously, I missed the Peterborough match and the Berwick match, which I believe are the two best matches of the season. Just my luck, but I really enjoyed that. That was probably my sort of favourite match, as it were, of the season so far.
Yeah, it was an excellent meeting. As we say, next week the Monarchs are in action down at Somerset for the championship pairs. Always an event we enjoy going to. Of course, former winners of the event back in 2014. But we get into the event. We'll not have a preview show this week, so this can kind of double as that for that. But we get into this event looking at our pairing of Ricky and Erik is one of the strongest pairings in the competition. I think that would be fair to say. Chances of going there and winning?
I think we've got a good chance. As you mentioned, we've got a strong pairing. There's a lot of strong pairings, but you know, Ricky's the top rider on averages in the league just now, I believe. Maybe him and Rory are neck and neck. Erik showed in the big events that he's not phased. He went through the red card in the 4s. Everyone will remember Erik's debut at Somerset on that Sky meeting back in 2016, I guess, 2015. No home pair in it this year. Somerset have stepped up. A couple of slight negatives. I believe that the forecast isn't great for it. I heard Scott Wilson say tonight 130 millimetres of rain. I don't know what that is in new money, but it sounds like quite a bit. And I believe there's a potential for a wee bit of weakness at team management. We might need to look into that this week. Make sure the tactics are right before we go down there. But yeah, we'll go there.
You might want to see what you're referring to there.
Scott here, more than likely, is it confirmed? Are you the Scott will be the team manager for the pairs. So if it doesn't go well, you know who to blame. But yeah, it's a great night. Somerset's a fantastic track. It's part of a great weekend of Speedway. You mentioned that there. You're going to fly down to Bristol on Friday morning. It'll be on Stevie Gilroy's bus from the walkabout in the afternoon. I believe there's still seats available. Speak to Stevie Gilroy. Should you want to go on that, you're welcome for the plug there, Stevie. And it's just part of a festival of Speedway where the pressure off. You want to win these events, but it's kind of whatever happens, happens. We've seen us win it before. Sam and Max won it on Sky a few years ago. That was a great night. The Emmerdales piled through and the fence collapsed on them. And if there's a repeat of that, then it'll be great and just set up what is a fantastic weekend.
You mentioned there that Erik wasn't phased by the big meetings. Is that one of our strengths, that we've got two riders who aren't going to be phased by the big occasion, really? Because we see, as much as we're at championship level, but a lot of these riders are involved in big meetings, whether it be in the Premiership or in Poland or etc, etc. But is it a good thing for us that we've got riders who don't seem to be phased by that?
I think so, and whether it's because of their experience. You know, Ricky's, I mean, he's only 26, but he's ridden in the World Cup numerous times, American International, ridden in the Elite League as it was, the Premiership pretty much every year. He's ridden in Poland, Sweden. You know, he's been there, done that. Erik's a two-time world champion on a motorbike, you know, on World Long Track Championship. So when they come to a championship pairs, it's a big meeting, but it's not a step up for them. You know, some of the guys in the league on the way up will go, right, this is our time to shine. This is and they'll maybe psych themselves out a wee bit. For these guys, they just like going out and riding their bike. And you know, Erik's mindset, he's the best in every field he's in, whether it's an Elite League match, a championship match, a Grand Prix, a Europe, whatever. He thinks he's the best, and Ricky is showing this year that in a lot of fields he is the best. So we'll see. I don't want to jinx it. We've went there as favourites before and not performed. We've went there as underdogs and done well. This is a team that seems to do better when the chips are down and we're not favoured. So going in as one of the meeting favourites might not suit us, but it won't affect those two guys.
Absolutely, and as you say, it is a big festival of Speedway between the pairs and obviously Cardiff on the Saturday night. We'd like to say from everybody at Edinburgh Monarchs, we wish Craig Cook and Ty Wiffenden the best of luck for the British point of view. We hope we can see a British winner at Cardiff come next Saturday night. That's it for the Friday Focus for this week, and we'll catch you when we're back at Armadale Stadium for the SGB Championship match against the Red Car Bears. That'll be Friday the 27th of July now, but until then, good night.
All right.